Everyone, and welcome to our webinar on maximizing the course production process. I know that Chuck has a full agenda today, so I'm going to turn this right over to him to get started.
Very good. Well, Sharon, thank you much, and I guess we can start the recording. I'm not showing it as started. Is yours got the start button going?
It does. It shows it's
very
being
good.
recorded.
Very good. Very good. Well, welcome everybody, and again, this is a little different take. We've done this before, but we want to kind of look at the big picture of what we're talking about with courses, and kind of like, I guess, sun, moon, and the universe, everything revolves around courses in our system. Planning your programs, helping get your marketing set up, building a successful fee structure, getting the information you need. Again, the finances and the fees, information about your students, primarily where they are in your programs, key reports, this kind of stuff, all of that really ties to the course. So today we're going to try to take a little broader picture, if you would, forest rather than trees, or system level rather than the micro. For those of you that have not perhaps had as much experience in building courses, there is a webinar in the course detail called Course Construction that is under the Program Coordinators tab under Webinar Archive. So again, Webinar Archive is under the Customer tab of our ACEweb main page, and that will give you a bit more of the micro detail. And we're going to try to cover some big picture items. As always, questions, type them into Sharon. She'll be monitoring that. I'll take a breath from time to time and see if there are questions Sharon wants me to cover now. Otherwise, we'll get them at the end of the session. So, all right, so the idea, big picture, what are we going to do? We're going to kind of talk about the course creation options. I want to stress a couple of special features we've got for that. We'll talk about course promotion, and this primarily deals with the catalog aspect of a course. The description for your course that for web display goes on the web, how you can use the built-in tools to edit that or make it a little more consumer-friendly, a little more pizzazz to your descriptions. We're going to kind of bounce through some special course features, a couple optional modules there with the asterisks, room use, memberships, workshops, budget builder, pocket ledger, quick reports. These are all fundamental elements of the course system. And again, depending on who you are out there listening or watching, you may or may not use all of these. If you're the program manager, then things like pocket ledger for expenses, quick reports, budget builder, those are key items for you. Registration staff who are doing more of the back-end tracking work, those first few may be more important. But we'll kind of make sure you know about them and you know how you might use them to build your courses. Then we're going to go into, I guess, some course tips and tricks. This will be perhaps some review for those of you experienced folks, but certainly try to cover what I feel are more the top important areas for the whole course production process. And then finally talk about course performance analytics. So we're going to segue into my favorite topics, which is course reporting, statistical analysis. How do you tell what programs are generating the enrollments, generating the income that you really think your program needs? So, without further ado, let's kind of get going. First of all, version-wise, we just released version 49. The course area has been fairly stable. We have, in the last couple of 3 months, updated the room use process, where it doesn't update room use every little field you change. There is a refresh schedule button, or when you hit save, it'll automatically do the changes. The second thing is that we've added, and more recently, just in the last month or two, a new room use, edit room use panel. We'll take a quick look at that in a minute here. The other big thing, again, with the last version since the first of the year is registration level user-defined fields. And what this allows you to do especially if you run conferences, special workshops, where you're needing to track unique information about the student's registration. For a camp, it might be a position, an instrument played, a meal preference that you might need for one course but not for another. And what you'll see in here is that we can identify a unique descriptor for this particular class. Now, how does that play out? We're going to jump into Manager, if I can tab to the right one. So we're here at this course. Meal preference is number 2, numeric is years of student manager experience, and are you a keeper of the flame? So if we were to go to Add Edit Regis for this class and look at additional user-defined fields, there we have meal preference, keeper of the flame, how many years of experience. So that is unique to this one section of Student Manager. Now if we go to the other section where I have not set these up, we can see the only fields identified happen to be 2 master fields that would be set at the master level. So again, that is a new feature. I would recommend taking a look at the help guide. It's pretty, I think it's identified in that, but again, that should be very useful for folks doing conference stuff. All right, jumping into course creation. And again, obviously you can do add new and start from the beginning on a brand new course that you've never done before. But most of the time, 3/4 generally, you're probably going to be cloning an existing course. Well, there's a couple of ways to do it. There's actually 3 ways to do it. Number 1 is the single clone. You look up a course, hit the clone button, it'll ask you to put in a new course number, and you're on your way. All right, and for onesie at a time, that's fine. However, there is another option. There is the duplicate clone a course option, which is, we'll back, under module names. And when you click that, you get the option to set up a default string. So if you're working on, again, winter 2017, or let's say fall 2017, you could say my new string will be 17F for 2017 fall. And again, I want to start at the begin date. And what that'll do, it's kind of like the register lookup. You're rolling back and forth between the course find screen and the create new course. And it'll basically, you don't have to hit the Alt F1 create a new course number, because you can give it a default course number. And again, so if you're primarily working on new courses for one term, this is definitely going to save you some time. The other option is a term clone. And this is kind of unique. It fits programs best where a semester has kind of a fixed start time, or you really kind of work the classes on a fixed schedule. And so the idea that if you had, let's pull up, this is kind of the base screen. Okay, what are the old courses you want to clone? And you can either use a range of dates, or you can use a course number begins with. So if you're cloning last fall's courses, it'd be 16F. Yeah, well, let's go winter courses. 17W, you were dealing with last course, last term's courses, and you want to start the fall program. And you're going to say the new begin date will be 9/11, the ending date 10/15. If you have any online courses, we're going to say they open for enrollment 2017. And when you click OK, that'll automatically move all of those courses over into the 18F group, and then you can edit, change the dates, or edit the dates, change locations, edit any information that needs to be done. So again, if you have a question about what mode might fit you best, give again your tech a call. But these are great tools that'll speed up the building of new terms. All right, well, let's get into extra, read all about it. How do you promote your courses? Well, Certainly, building a good course program is a way to start on that. And how do you do that? Well, one of the things, ask your students, ask your instructors. There are some special pages that ACEweb has available that you can invite students to propose a course and invite instructors to submit a course for consideration. Where to go? Go to the sandbox, ACEweb sandbox, tryaceweb.com, and you can take a look at that. And let's see if I was able to bring up a browser. I do have Mozilla here. There we go. Let me bring up our demo. All right, so we're at the ACEweb sandbox. If you'd like to see, here is a suggest a course page that you could post. The page is suggest course AWP, and the idea is that you invite the student to tell you who they are, so you can tell them when and if you publish that course. Or if you thought that was a great idea, maybe we can get this student who could suggest an instructor. But basically invite them to submit a course, and that will then be emailed on into the staff contact. For instructors, the submit a course is generally after an instructor logs on, there would be an option to say submit course proposal. And again, this is the instructor. We'd expect a bit more detail about the class, what it might offer, so that again, it's a way to try to involve your instructors and your students, you know, in giving you some ideas. We know you are creative, but it's always nice to get those students and faculty involved in what it is you're trying to do. All right, titles and descriptions. Again, if you talk about titles, it's the candy, it's the eye candy, bring them in the door. And descriptions are the ones that close the sale. They are the meat, they are the details, devil in the details that hopefully gets a person in the door. And certainly how you write the copy, we don't have any creative writing tools. We do have, I am looking for a tool I found, Sharon, that was a headline generator. And if I find that, I will post that, or maybe we'll put that in a newsletter. But for right now, the idea is that we can't necessarily write your copy, but we can help you use the tools to make it look prettier. So how do you do that? Well, catalog module is how you do it. You put in your description in the catalog module. Now, when you're putting it in the primary description, if you do line feeds and tabs and spaces, it will let you do that. However, when you go to ACEweb to display it, it is just one blob. So if we were to take a look at what that's going to look like in ACEweb, and let me find our ACEweb link. Here we go. So I'm going to search for application development. If I could spell application. So we have 2 application development seminars. So this is the one, the wrong one. Let's go back to the other. If we just put the information in the top part, the text part where we just let it sit there and we did not go down into generate HTML, this is what we're going to get. It just does all of the line feeds are kind of mushed together. It has the information, but it isn't necessarily as nicely presented. If we were to go hit the generate HTML, it would drop that into the HTML builder, and from here we could hit edit text. We could hit big to upsize the font. We could hit bold if you wanted to bold items. Put my space back in there. You could put in line feeds. You have the ability, this is the list function right here, where it'll give you bullet points, and then you can do a italics for things like quotes. So when we look at that online, then get to the right one. Now we have it really kind of, it pops out. You can see the bullet points. You've got the little attractive itals. So again, if you're not using that tool, again, there are obviously there's hyperlinks, you can drop in images, you can actually insert a video, make small size fonts, color your fonts, change your font if you're that creative. So again, you can use these tools even though you don't know HTML. Now, you say, well, wait a minute, I know HTML, and yeah, I'm way beyond that. Well, what you can do then, you don't even have to go to the Generate HTML tool. If you know HTML, you can just open up the screen and create your HTML in whatever tool set you use. Don't use Word. Do not try to create HTML in Word, but a front page, one of your HTML editors, and you can drop your secondary description in here, and then of course Web will use web description box if you have it filled in. So again, Sharon, I kind of carried off on that. Any questions popping up so far?
I'm not seeing any questions right now, Chuck.
All right. The makeovers, and again, so we're kind of making sure you take advantage of that. Okay, so that's in the promotion side. In the special course features, let's kind of roll through those here. Attendance tracking, it is an optional module. We do have, again, a webinar that describes that. If you need to track daily attendance, this would let you do that. Course packaging bundling, this is something, one of the very popular modules. If you've got courses where you can put together 2, 3, 4 courses that kind of fit together, web development, data analysis, a word processing, or kind of an office suite of classes, it allows you to encourage people to buy batches of courses at the same time and be able to offer a slight discount to people by buying that bundle. So again, that is a great tool. I don't even have on the descriptor, but the other thing to remember with the packaging bundling is that you also get BOGO, buy one, get one, and so you can do buy 3, get the 4th one free, or the 4th one at a discount, as again another way to do bundles of classes for enrollments. The new room use wizard, we talked about that in one of the new goodies webinars that we did at the first of the year, but this is now in, I believe, 48 and newer, and basically it offers some really cool tools, very handy tools when you're doing room use creation. And again, some ideas like roll date, so if you want to move a date forward, it'll automatically do that. You've got a clean edit tool at the top here. And again, online help guide has a pretty good update on it. Just go in and search for room use. Membership tracking, again, this is standard. This is one of the base products of the system. A lot of OSHA programs obviously use this, but if you like to start your own program or use memberships as a way to offer discounts for classes, there are a number of tools in the system now to do that. Couple of the new things that we've got are the ability now to have multiple membership levels on a single membership course. So you could have a gold level, they get the 15% discount, silver level with the 10%, bronze level with the 5%, and you could sell all those programs with one membership course. Other tools, there's a renewing member reminder that now would be identified on the name screen when you use that. That's one of the things, and again, we've talked about perhaps having a special webinar on the membership program, and so again, if you'd like that, give us a thumbs up to Sharon as kind of some quick feedback. Workshops, again, using workshops. Workshops have been a tool in ACEware for a long time. used as a way to track breakout sessions or concurrent sessions for conferences and symposia. It's a great way to track pre-conference and post-conference events. With those workshops, you can have fees or not, can set an enrollment maximum, and there's a pretty good reporting set. And right now, as we're beginning to see weather warm up and people are thinking about summer already, these are great. Workshops are great ways if you're trying to do summer kids enrichment programs with multiple tracks in a given day. It's a great way to track which kids are in the archery at 10 versus pottery versus the CSI class. So, budgets and pocket ledger, again, tools that have been around a while. I hope people are using those. I'm going to try to wake people up here and do a little poll. If you would, raise your hand if you use Budget Builder. Let's go. So raise your hand if you use Budget Builder. All right, guys, wake up, wake up, wake up. Oh, gosh, either you're all asleep or nobody.
Heavy exercise for a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. Click the hand button on your
Oh, there we go. Tracy's there.
Oh, Tracy, good for you. All right. Well, I would recommend, again, and I suppose if you have programs that you've offered for 100 years, you probably know what you're going to charge. But for new programs, the Budget Builder that is on the course screen, great tool to do that. All right, so we're going to have everybody put their hands down. What about Pocket Ledger? Raise your hand if you use Pocket Ledger. I am hoping. Oh, yeah, now we're getting a few more popping in. Very good. All right, so that you're tracking the outcomes of that. That's great. So again, great tools to track expenses for a program. And again, in the webinar area, under the financial area, there are a couple of webinars on Budget Builder and Pocket Ledger. Certainly, quick reports, we can't go without mentioning that in the system. You can hit quick reports, generate a batch of reports you need for the class. You could email or SMS message your class. And finally, don't forget the check special needs. And again, the idea here is that if you have a student where you put in a special needs note at the quick report level, if you just check special needs, you get, bam, a list of the names, if any appear, so you get a quick preview of who might need some special attention during the class. Well, we're getting now to my favorite part, my MacGyver part. You talk about tips and tricks and how to make things work in the system. First of all, course basics. Active course open for enrollment. Again, remember, guys, the only courses that you should have active are generally courses that are open for enrollment. When you go to your Student Manager and you say, look up active courses. Let me get over to Student Manager. Hang on, I skipped through that. Come, too many things open. When you're in Student Manager, okay, I am done with this. I close up a couple of things. Hang on, get out of here. All right. Now let's get back to Manager. There we go. When you're in Student Manager and you hit Look Up Active Course, you should not be seeing courses in your begin date that are really more than 3-4 months ago, and if there's any reason you're doing courses that are that active. So that the point is that in Manager, we have a set of tools to deactivate your courses once they have passed. And so under Module, Courses, Mass Change, Update, Delete, you get a Mass Deactivate tool. And what this Mass Deactivate tool does, and let me bring up my little pointer tool, I haven't brought the toy up here yet, is that you can click the Change Status from active to inactive, and then down below here you can either do it by range of begin dates or by course number begins. And The range of begin dates works pretty good unless you have courses where you haven't entered a begin date. Maybe those were online classes that were asynchronous. Maybe those were some, you've got fake classes that you've used for kind of tracking other data. But if they are gone and no longer active, you can use the course number begins. And note, this is new now, so you, rather than before where you could only do one course number begins at a time, by comma separating the different term numbers, you could deactivate a whole group of courses on the equivalent of a is within a list option. So again, highly recommend that. Note, guys, if you have a large database or you have a slow network, the more you prune your active courses so that you're only looking at courses that are upcoming, it will speed up the lookups, it'll speed up your registration process. So again, we're just saying, if you're not using it actively, take it off the list, deactivate it, and again, what you can do, and I keep flipping over, hang on guys, there we go. What you can do, you say, well, I need to look up a course from 2016. No problem. You just go ahead and go to the lookup course from the regular menu, and now you've got every course since the beginning of time available to you. All right. Sharon, we good? Anything going on?
You're good.
All right. So keeping on the basics then. The other big one, subject code. And again, everybody ought to be putting in a subject code because remember that's added to the participants' interest code set, super important for marketing. Course basics for user-defined fields. Again, for the course level, you can set those user-defined field labels under course preferences. Course fees, you've got the main course fee area where you've got an unlimited number of fees that you might want to set, of which a person is going to pick one of those. Optional fees, again, you can have an unlimited number of optional fees, and you can have them mandatory or non-mandatory. They can be coupon, inventory, or other, and an individual can select any, none, or all of the above. So again, ways to track your fees within the system. I think that's fairly clear. Early bird special, again, don't know how many people use early bird specials. The big idea or the big thought behind early bird special, I'm going to ask that, so we're going to make people stay on their toes. Raise your hand if you guys do early bird special fees during the course of a year. Doesn't have to be every program around. Quite, yeah, all right, got quite a few. And again, for those of you that aren't using early bird fees, there's a logic, and there is also, you can be sneaky about that. If you have not raised your fees in a while and you have never used early bird fees, what you can do now is set your old regular fee to be the early bird fee, and then set in the late fee, the non-early bird, to be your 5% higher fee, so that it's kind of a, pardon the phrase, kid, backdoor way to raise your fees and still say, well, yeah, we raised our fees, but if you get off your butt and register, you're still going to get the regular fee that we've honored for 150 years. So again, early bird fees is kind of a nice way to be able to get into that. Preferences, one of the new items on early bird fees now is that you can use either the number of days for the fees expires, or you can put in a explicit date to say they expire on the 1st of the month. It's for a fall term, September 1, all early birds expire no matter when the course starts. So again, a couple of different ways you can use that. One of the other things that was new in the past several months here is that in ACEweb, we had the ability to do percentage discounts that were automatic percent discounts in the coupon or an adjustment fee area. We now support that within Student Manager itself, and the idea of a percentage discount is that you'd put in whatever your optional fee is. You put in a negative and a percent as, you know, tenths there. So if you had a 5% discount, it'd be 0.05. And again, it could be a standard optional fee or probably more a coupon fee where you'd have, they'd have to have a coupon code in order to get that particular fee. But the percentage discount is an option now with ACEweb. ACEweb info, again, in setting up your courses. You've got the links over on the ACEweb page over here where you're setting the published properties. And of course, we still have the preview status page, so you can see what your page is going to look like real time. What's new here in the last several months is that there is now a separate copy link to the status page. And that will actually, it doesn't jump you into a browser, it just copies that link to like your clipboard, and then you can paste that into an email to a co-sponsor or to a co-marketer that is agreeing to cross-list the program for you. And again, if you've got partners, if you've got chambers of commerce, you've got instructors who are, you know, they're maybe good about helping to promote your program, send them that link to their class and encourage them to put that link on any kind of promotional material they've got. That's going to get you more coverage to the system. Coming back to grouping codes, this of course is for ACEweb users where the course will display under the grouping in ACEweb, and also for tracking certificate programs. I'm not going to get into certificate program tracking here, but if you are doing certificate programs, there are a number of tools that we've got through the idea of grouping codes and through reports under transcript reports. It's the certificate wizard. There is a webinar in the webinar archive on that. And again, if you are doing certificates and you're really not using, the ACEweb tools on that, send me an email and I'll give you I'll volunteer a personal little tour of that. Make sure that you're not missing out on some great tools there. Communicating with students. Okay, so you've got them in, they're in the class. How do you keep them tuned in, aware of what you're doing? Several ways. Number one, SMS notification. This is a new feature in the past year or so. And again, it is, you do need a Twilio account. I think it's now a half a cent or maybe 5/8 of a cent per message for short messages, like 140 characters, to a student's cell phone. And of course, we continue to have email auto reminders. The ability to send a reminder to students X number of days before the class starts to say, hey, remember class is upcoming, don't forget, get to class. What's new in here now is that we have a follow-up option. So if you have a circumstance where you do evaluation surveys, you do thank yous, you want to send out an invitation to enroll in a next class with a $5 coupon or some kind of promotion, you can have ACEware Student Manager automatically remind you that here are courses that met 5 days ago or X number of days ago. Okay, well, we go on here. Send an email or quick SMS message, again, from the course quick reports. You've got the tool to be able to do that. Holidays for room use. A couple of things to remember in holidays. There is a new feature now called Generate Federal Holidays, where Matthew is actually goes online real time and you can download the current federal holidays so that, you know, 4th of July, President's Day, et cetera, your room use holiday calendar will be kept up to date. The other new thing in this is that for schools where you have things like Thanksgiving weekend or spring break or an Easter break where you might have a 2-day week off or 2 days off at a time, you can set a single holiday that covers multiple days. So you don't have to make a separate holiday schedule for Thursday and a separate holiday schedule for Friday. So that's a nice advantage. Special course administration tools, and Sharon and I'm blowing through this in pretty good shape here. So any questions that are popping in this instant you might want to cover?
Not at this time. Everybody's just hanging on the edge of their seat
Hanging
trying to
on
keep
there,
up.
being quiet, trying to keep a breath and pay attention here. So, course administrative tools. Now, this is with course management. And again, we're talking now, you've got enrollments in classes, and for some reason, you're going to have to cancel one class, but you have another section, and you're just going to transfer all of those students from one class to the other. So there is a tool to do that under courses, module courses, mass transfer. And again, if you've got a case where, again, you want to just transfer registrations from one course to another, we got a tool to do that. Another tool is the course transmogrification. Love that title. So again, if you've been building a course coding system, 16F, ACE 101, and you decide you'd like to add a field to the code, you want to rearrange the code, what you can do is jump to the course code transmogrification tool. Again, we would encourage you to talk to your tech about that so they can kind of advise you. There are several ways that you can handle course code, kind of a find and replace type options. But again, there are ways to help you do that en masse without having to go course by course by course. All right, student list, editing options. One of the things we've done a little bit of changing in here, and we'll explain what's going on, but remind you that when you're in a course, and if there is a reason you want to edit course student information on registrations, that if you click on student list, and if you look over under editing to the left here, where's my mouse? Here we go. Where if it says editing here, that means you have permission to edit registrations. You can edit the CEUs, the grade, the hours, the status, and the registration note right from this browse, like an Excel spreadsheet window, without having to drill into the individual student's registration. Now, here's what you can't do from here. In the past, people were to double-click on the name record, and then from the name record, they would hit Edit Registration. Well, the problem with that was that any data that was in here for CEUs, grade, hours, status, or reg note, this data would overwrite any edits you made to the registration. So it really was not a functional item. So I'm gonna jump to live here now. So if there is a reason, let me get to manager. If there is a reason that you need to go into the registration to do something besides grade, hours, status, and notes, like I said, you open up the student record, but the edit registration is dim. It is disabled. And like I said, there's a reason for that. It's not saved. So if you need to edit the full registration, click on Add Edit Regis, and now when you do find, the default order is sorted by add date, but you can just click on the header of the column, sort alphabetically by last name, jump to the name that you want, and you've got the full Monty of whatever it is you need on the student, or go to the payment on that registration. So that is something that the idea of mass editing a student base information, the quickest way to do it is right from that student list mode. Course analysis, and again, you've done all this work, you've had registrations, you've built these courses, you worked hard to register them, but didn't make any difference. And I ran into this quote this morning, and I love it here. I can't tell if it's killing me or making me stronger. And I guess the question is, If you don't know the difference, you are obviously not using course analytics. So what do you do with that? We've got a couple great tools in the reporting system: statistics, course data summary, course performance review. And because I've been running like a racehorse, we actually have some time to go in and take a look at that. So if you haven't, I'm gonna have you lower your hand. Come on, wake up everybody. Raise your hand if you have gone into statistics courses in the last 3 months. I'm giving you 3 months, guys. 3 months. Raise your hand if you've been in there. Well, right. All right. We got Dan, the newbie, in there going away. Deb and Connie, and Leslie, and Mary Jean, the experienced ones. Good. Well, the rest of you slackers, no, the rest of you folks, let me kind of walk you through. All right. Statistics, courses, course data summary. Now, the course data summary report, the main statistical report, is a crosstab analysis report. So what you do is you go in and you pick a category. And if you're a program manager, you might want to say, well, I want to know, based on coordinator, how many courses each coordinator runs and their success or not success on that area. So you can do a summary report or a detailed report. I'd suggest starting with summary and start with the default report. I would include canceled records so that you know the percentage of cancellation. So we're going to run this report for a given year. We're going to use 2016, 1/6. Get my mouse out of the way there, 1/6. And so it will tell us for every coordinator how many classes they ran, how many were canceled. I'm the only one that canceled the class. Boy, okay, anyway. How many enrollments they had, how many of those enrollments registered but canceled, so it's kind of a shrinkage. What was the averages in the class, gross income per class, income, and if you track expenses, and the net income per coordinator. So again, the idea, if you don't know what is happening with your classes, here's the place to find that out. So go back. There's more where that came from. Courses, course data summary. So let's try a different one. Let's say, well, let me just show you the other options. Obviously, department, account code, grouping code, by instructor. You know, let you look at your instructor performance. By location. Now that's an interesting one because I'm gonna cancel out of this because we're gonna go to location, module, locations, find location, Beaver Creek Lodge. Okay, one of the items now in the location area is the ability to put in a city, state, county. You can put in a room ID. You can create, if you have regional locations, Southwest Kansas, and if you have Northwest Kansas, and if you wanted to say, well, I want to know kind of by my geographic region how my courses are doing, by putting some reference to a region in your location, and of course tying the location to the course, the statistical report gives you the ability to analyze those. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Reports, statistics, course data summary. So we're going to go to location, summary report, default, course number begins. Now, how do we want to sort these classes? By the full name of the location, Beaver Creek Lodge. By the building name, if you use the building in the room option, you could say Acme Building versus, so like on campus, that would let you test that. If you're doing it by city, state by state, county by county, or room ID code, let's say by city, and we're going to get our 2016 again. So this tells us then, based on where we held the class, what was our performance, how many we had to cancel, average enrollment, net income, and obviously you guys know if you were to run personal interest, low-cost classes in Kansas City, and you ran your high-dollar banker and investment guru classes in Lincoln that were high-dollar, your enrollments or your income's going to vary. But the point is, it gives you the ability to slice and dice performance of your classes by these multiple criteria. One more under there that I want to highlight for you, and that is, again, something like subject code is a good one to start this one, and go with additional reports, summary and you had fitness, you had personal finance. It'll tell you for a given month how many classes were held, how many had to be canceled, percentage of cancellation, what your enrollment is, what your percent capacity is, and your income. Well, to me, that percent capacity is the number, and the number of courses offered are the numbers you want to watch for, because that percent capacity is how full the bus is. How full are you building that bus or that airplane before you shove off, and the fixed cost of running that class, airplane, bus, doesn't matter if there's one person in a seat or 250. So the point is, the higher the capacity of your classes, the better off you're going to be income-wise. And so again, for programs with multiple offerings in a topic area, this would begin to give you ideas that, are you offering too many sections? Do you need to slow down the sections, minimize them, and try to get more of the folks interested in X topic to sign up for the courses you are holding, rather than split those people among too many classes and you're having to cancel or run classes at a low number? So again, that's kind of my evangelistic zeal on that whole business of you know, monitoring your classes. Now, there is one more area underneath there, under statistics, which is performance review. And what this lets you do is do a top dog or rank order based on raw performance. So you can choose class enrollment, income numbers, CEUs, hours, or credits generated. Well, most of us are a Jerry Maguire clone, so we want to see the money. And you can choose total due, total paid, outstanding balance, or net. Well, net won't help you unless you're doing expense tracking. We'll just do total due. We want the top 10 records, and we're going to use default report for 2016. 1-6. And there they are. Top 10 reports based on income due for 2016. And again, it does show paid, balance, expense, and the net hours and CEUs. But again, if you're wanting to kind of get an idea, you know, where are the cash cows? Where are your shining stars? That's a report that will get those to you. So, all right, I think we're cranking along here. Course statistics, Chuck's favorites, and again, these are ones, and I can't leave the course area with talking about the F keys. And we talk about reports, we talk about getting the data out. Well, obviously, you can run reports, and you are, but I'm going to ask you, raise your hand if you have hit the F2 key or the F9 key in the last month. Okay, 30 days, not since the first of the month, in the last month. All right, good. Well, again, we got a few more. Good. Oh, and more. Well, good. All right, well, I am going to, there's a few of you that haven't played with this. Remember F1, the F1 key pops up the keyboard shortcut shortcuts. And the F2 key is enrollment report, F9 is dashboard. So what does it do? The F2 key allows you to get a quick view of classes. It says enrollment count, but the idea that you can either run show me the classes that meet in the next 14 days. You have an option here, only non-canceled, only canceled, all, and options about show courses with no instructor, display counts of non-paying. Just a note, if you haven't used this in a while, some predecessor of yours may have filled in a course number here, and it might be still hanging around. It will remember a course number preference if you put it in, so make sure you clear that out. Hit the OK button. Bam, you get a list of the classes in the next 14 days. And from the list, you also have the ability, double-click on the course number. You can open the course, edit it, and so it allows you to get a quick look at editing. The other thing you can do with the F2 is to say, view courses where they're within a date range. So if you need a quick view of this quarter, 0101 through 0331, you put in the date range, you hit the OK button, bam, there's your quarter courses, one click. And then finally, you have an option that says view all, no date range, that if you wanted to do things like, I wanted to show every course that was an art course. I wanted to show every course that had a grouping code of whatever. I wanted to show every course that had the word manager in it. No matter its beginning, end, it's kind of like a wildcard search. But the point is, quick ways to give you your reports of a class. And then the last one is the F9 key. The F9 gives you two things. The top part of this, give me my mouse. The top part of this will show you classes coming up in the next 30 days, 316, 415, that have less than the minimum enrollment number. So these are your wah list. There is an option you can click the button and show courses that are close to full. That's not, whatever, if I could toot my horn, that's the ones that you need to worry about getting a bigger classroom, maybe running another section. And then the bottom part here is an income report. And I'm going to change this, refresh. There we go. We've got, my 11 classes in the whole system that are under-enrolled. And so this will show you enrollment and income for the reporting period you pick. You can choose a year ago, and you saw what I had set here is that if I'm Coordinator Havlicek, I can put in a criteria to say just show my classes. I don't care about Sharon's or Michael's or the others. I just want to know my classes. So again, that's a tool available to you. All right, the other thing to remember, course preferences area really does impact on how things behave in your system, on names, register, org defaults, and certainly in course. It's where you turn fields on and off. It enables you to like display due and paid totals. One of the things that people have been saying is that if you have, again, a slow network, when you pull up a course, you would see the message at the top, calculating due and paid, and that will then generate for you the total due, total paid. If you have a slow network and you're sitting there waiting 10, 15 seconds for the display due and paid to clear, what you can do is go to Preferences, Course, uncheck this display due and paid fields. Now when you look up a course, it will automatically generally it'll just automatically bam, 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 get you from course to course to course. But you say, what I like to know, how much the due and the paid? Well, all right, we'll grant you that. Well, you said, do I have to go to Quick Reports and run? No, you don't have to do that. Just click Student List and look right here. You have a grand total due, grand total paid right off the list. So when you do want to know that, you one click off the beaten path to get that. So again, back to preferences, a lot of preference items that have behavior implications. How do you want to do the time, lock the time, abbreviate the time, how you want to do cloning, browse preferences, subject scoping. This is where you set up your reminders for follow-ups and email adapters. So again, great set of tools for you. Make sure to pay attention to those, that you've got those set the way you want. So, all right, revisit those regularly. And again, if you've got questions about what some of these preferences cover, your online help guide has it. And nice segue, we can't say this enough. Your online help guide is there for you. Again, from your student manager, you can access it through the red help book. You can just go to our website and go to customer and get the online help guide. But again, use that help guide. It is your friend and a great resource for you. All right, well, Sharon, we are actually fairly good.
I'm not seeing any questions, Chuck, but that was a ton of good information.
Oh, kind of hard to believe there. Sure.
Well, I answered a few private ones.
Oh, okay.
But
on the way. On the way. All right, Dan. Surely you got a question out there. I see a note in the system here. So, well, we've been cranking along here. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple reminders. Number one, annual conference coming up this summer. We're later this summer, but we would love to have people sign up for that. Conference information is out there. Sharon, tell us about, you did a site visit this weekend. What do you think?
Boy, I had a great time in Scottsdale. It is an awesome facility. I've never seen a hotel like it before, and everything is within walking distance. And if you don't want to walk, there's a shuttle that leaves straight from the hotel and takes you all through Old Town and the Arts District. There's just a ton to do. It's a great place. People are going to love it.
Cool. All right. So the first person notice on that. So upcoming webinars, lots of stuff happening. Again, remember, new user forum, Thursday, March 30th. This is more of an open Q&A, stump the chump, chance to interact with other users in an informal environment here. We'll basically cover any topics that you might want to bring forward with us. The first of next month, we'll be doing, again, the first Wednesday ACEware software update. If there's a new build out, we'll have information on that. That'll be Wednesday the 5th. And then the April webinar, which is timely, the Spring Cleaning Edition. That will be the 20th of April. Give you time to get your taxes in. And we will talk about archiving, the new Student Manager 8 archiving tool, which is really pretty cool. Again, a way to enhance the speed of your system. So again, folks, I believe that covers it. Sharon, if you do have any questions, folks that have attended, shoot us an email afterwards, and we will look forward to see you the end of the month for the new user forum, some of you. Oh, by the way, again, it says new users. We're happy to have senior users, practice users. The point is, if you've got some questions, you want to kind of hear some ideas out from us, sign up for that forum. So, Sharon, any comments? Any last?
I'm not seeing anything here. It looks like you ended just right on time.
Very good. All right. Well, folks, thanks much for signing up. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye, everybody.